Peace, power, and prosperity. Rob Black Storm, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day, evening, or night. And I hope your week is going well. And if it's not going well, I hope you're working on changing and transforming it. Listen, there is a sentiment amongst the esoteric spiritual community that I would say borders on atheism, right? Atheism believing that there is no creator, there is no source, there is no intelligent design, there is no God, if you will, right? Now, I want to analyze it. Well, first, the converse to that is that ye are gods, right? You are God. God exists within you, right? There is no outside force or source other than you and yourself, right? And, you may be using signs and symbols like sacred geometry or sigils or candles or working with deities, right? But those are still forces that only exist within you. All right. So let's look at both sides of the coin, right? And come up with a working analysis. Because we really need to know, because a lot of us, especially those of us that were melanated beings, so have been displaced from our ancestry and our lineage due to, slavery, the Middle Passage, the Ma'afa, right? We don't really know where we come from. We don't really know who our forefathers were. So what we're really trying to do through study, through research, through watching videos and lectures, is gain a semblance of home, right? Gain a semblance of source. Gain a semblance of our mother tongue and our mother environment. So, let's look at it from the standpoint of one who doesn't believe in God, right? Or a creative force or intelligent design, right? Just believes in science and evolution. Now, let's look at it from the creator perspective, right? Let's start with that. Right? People who believe in God, who believe in the creator, right? If they were talking to someone who was an atheist, right? Or who didn't believe in God or a creator, what they would say is that, let's say this is a Christian, right? Or somebody who believes in the Abrahamic faith. They would say, oh, you didn't create the heavens, you didn't create the earth, you don't control the cycles of the seasons, you don't control the sun, moon, and stars, right? You don't control when a bee pollinates a flower. You don't control how an ant creates an anthill, right? And if you are out of your emotions, right? Because there's no room for emotions and truth. If you're out of your emotions, you would have to say that that person is correct, right? There's no man that controls day and night. There's no man that controls the seasons, right? There's no man that controls, earthquakes and comets and, different universal cycles. There's no man on earth. And when I say man, I'm talking man and woman. There's no man on earth that controls these sacred cycles. So you would have to agree with the person who has a creator perspective, right? Now, on the other hand, a person who doesn't have a creator perspective will say that, well, that creative force is evolution, right? It's just part of how things evolve from the Big Bang. And because of the evolution, right, things just happen to come in order, right? And this includes humanity, the stars, everything in nature, everything in the cosmos, right? Those things just came here by happenstance, right? And in fact, now switching from the atheist to the modern day New Age, and I'm using modern day New Age, not ancient traditional, spiritual science, but the New Age spiritualists, they'll say, well, all these things are in you, right? You're made of stardust. The sun, the moon, and the stars, right, are representative of the sun being your inner light, the moon being your emotions, and the stars, right, how you impact others, right? They might use a metaphor like that, or they'll say, we have an animal nature within us, right? So we are part animal, right? That we are spirit reflected here on earth as man, right? So why do I have to look at something outside of myself that's controlling the sun, moon, and stars when I am that, and that is me? And they'll use verses like Psalms 82:6. Do you not know that ye are gods and sons of the Most High? Or John 10:34. Does not your law state that ye are gods, right? And other scriptures, right, to back this up, to say that I am God, I am a God body, all right? That's a strong argument. And if you take your emotions again out of it, you have to say that that's true. But we're looking for the truth, right? So the truth is, you are both. You are both. You are a visible aspect of God here on earth, and there is an invisible aspect called spirit that is God of the universe. There is a African word called Muntu. Muntu, M-U-N-T-U. And Muntu means man and God, right? So there's a story where the child asks his father, right, who teaches him about this concept of Muntu. The child asks his father, he says, Father, am I not Muntu like God? And the father says, yes, you are Muntu too. And he says, well, if I am Muntu like God, why can't I make the sun drop out of the sky and the moon do my bidding? And the father tells the son, because a Muntu more powerful than you has set the stars and the suns upon their path. We come from a lineage here in Western society that has dominated and spread like a virus across the planet, to think that it has to be one or the other. It has to be man or woman as dominant. It has to be black or white as dominant. It has to be sunshine or rain as dominant. It has to be the Chiefs or the 49ers as dominant. It has to be either one or the other. This is Western man in his logical, left brain, segregative mind that conforms to capitalism, because everything has to be put in a box, right? Let's use Andre 3000's Flute album, right? Now, we all know Andre 3000 was a rapper, right? A proficient rapper and a popular one, right? Of the group Outkast. Andre 3000's shift to playing the flute to a holistic mind, a right brain, is just another aspect of music, right? That's it. It's just another aspect of music. This is the Eastern African mind, right? The Eastern African philosophy of spiritual science. They would say, well, it's just another form of music that he's indulging in. But in order to sell it, right? In order to sell it, they got to segregate it, right? This is the Western mind. So they have to classify it ambient music, new age jazz, right? Some shit like that. But we know he's a hip hopper, right? We know him as a hip hopper, as a rapper. So all he's doing is just doing a different form of music. Now, is either wrong or right? No. They both have their frame of existence, because if I was explaining Andre 3000 to somebody who was an alien and they, picked up his work, they would say, wow, this guy was a rapper, that would be the classification. And now he's a flutist, right? He's playing the flute. Doesn't mean that they're wrong, right? It just means that there's different sides of the coin, a yin and a yang, so to speak, right? And everything in life has that, right? For instance, water vapor creates ice, right? Water vapor creates ice. And if you think about it, you don't think like that when you see an ice cube, that's nothing but water vapor, water molecules that have been slowed down to a point where they have hardened into matter, right? You don't say that. You don't think that. That's not something that pops up in your conscious when you're putting ice in your soda or your drink or your juice, right? But it's a fact, right? And that same water molecule, if heated, right, or that same ice cube when heated will turn into water, right? It's just a different form. So when we look at the spiritual world, right, we have to realize that there is an intelligent design behind us, right? There is no ancient spiritual philosophy on the planet, and I challenge anyone, right, to find me one that doesn't have a creator source, right? Whether it's the Egyptians with Amen, Amun-Ra, Ptah, right? Kum being the potter of man, whether it's, Christians with Yahweh or Jehovah, right? Some philosophies say Jesus is God, right? Whether it's the Muslims with Muhammad and Allah, right? Whether it's the Jews, right? Everyone has their creative, and this is esoteric, and even if you look at the Kabbalah, right? There's Ein Sof, right? It's Ein Sof on the top of the tree of the Kabbalah. So every spiritual tradition, there is a creator, right? There's a creative force, an intelligent design behind it all. So you cannot be arrogant enough to say that, well, I'm God and I control all, and and there's nothing above and beyond me, right? This is an easy way to get humbled in life. Because if you talk about going to source, if you talk about going to the universe, if you talk about going within, if you talk about tapping into your higher self, then that higher self has a source. Even if you go deep into science, right? Let's go into physics. When you look at the basic building block of everything in the universe, the atom, right? There is space in the atom that is radiation, right? This is what scientists have classified it now as radiation, which is heat and movement, right? Some in quantum physics will say that is dark energy, right? That's holding the atom together, that space in between the atom. Now, some of you, right, you stub your toe, you start crying. Some of you see Donald Trump on your screen and you start getting angry. Some of you hate the opposite sex when you see them, when you see these memes and videos and you start getting triggered, right? But the creator of it all still provides air, which is spirit. The word spirit means breath or the wind or air. Look up the etymology. Still provides air to all of you, all of us, right? Us in our savage state, right? In our our Detroit Red state, right? And in our El Hajj Malik Shabazz state, which is, if you're watching this is, where you're trying to get to in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You're trying to get to that Malcolm X state of mind in some way, shape, form, fashion, right? There is two sides to every coin. So don't be so arrogant to think that you are above universal law, that you are above the 7 laws of the Kabbalion, right? Study the Kabbalion, study the 7 universal laws: mentalism, vibration, polarity, cause and effect, correspondence, rhythm, gender, right? Study those. 6 out of the 7 is about 2 sides of each coin. 180 degrees and another 180 degrees, right? So as above, so below with you. So if you are God here on earth and you are a representative of the spirit, that means that there is a God on high, right? That there means that there is a God force on high. And the God force that we are trying to comprehend through human lens or human eyes is not this one, you know, singular entity. It is all, right? All are, right? It is all. It's everything. God is everything, right? Including you. But you're just a motherfucking slice of the pie, my nigga. That's it. You're just a slice of the pie. And we don't want to neglect when we're doing spiritual work that there is a realm where ancestors exist that have nothing to do with you. Whether you call it your spirit team, whether you call it your ancestral realm, whether you call it the angels, right? Whether you call it the Holy Ghost even, or the Holy Spirit, right? There's something beyond you in this physical world that you source from. You don't even maintain your body, your health, without the tools that have been provided, without the utility, right? Without the agency, without the creations that have been provided for you. The fish, the chicken, right? How many trips you done took to Popeyes and shit? You know, the water, the Pepsis y'all be consuming, right? The Coca-Cola, right? The fast food, the herbs that you drink, the teas, the coffee bean, right? These things you didn't create yourself. Now, yes, in this physical frame, part of that created the coffee bean, part of that created the herb, part of that created the chicken is in you. Yes. But never be so arrogant to forget that there is a source, right? So what is the goal of spirituality? The real goal. The real goal is to understand that. The real goal is love. And love is empathy that leads to compassion, right? That's one of the goals, though, because even when you talk about God or the Creator, it's beyond simply love and empathy. That's one of the things, right? That's one of the aspects. But it's about, and really, if you look at it, it really is, right? Because what's the aspects of God or the Creator, right? It is intelligent design, right? And this intelligent design denotes that there's omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. So omnipotence is that God is all powerful, which is what you are, right? If you tap in, you are all powerful. If you tap into that source power that we call God, or we call the universe, or your source, or whatever, right? That God is omnipresent. This is where you got things like telepathy. This is where you have things like remote viewing. This is where you have things like clairvoyance, clairaudience, right? Clairsentience, right? Where you're able to connect beyond your human five senses, right? Or your five senses are enhanced. And there's omniscience, the ability to know all, where you just get a download moment, or you're thinking about somebody and then all of a sudden they call you out of nowhere, right? Or they send you a message on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, right? There is those aspects in you, but they are only a drop in the ocean. So love is the ultimate thing. But love encompasses you not only having that empathy for yourself and loving the things that you love, meaning if you're a nerd ass nigga and you read comic books, you should find a comic book group on the internet and engage in that, right? With people of like mind. If you're into spirituality, find a spiritual group and engage, with people of like mind, right? If you like, I don't know, if you're a woman, I don't know, you like crocheting, right? Get in a crocheting group and find people of like mind. This is the beauty of us having the internet, right? And the internet is a holistic experience, right? Everything, good, quote unquote, or bad, is on the internet, right? Everything is on the internet, right? It's one of the most divine creations ever built. And we know melanated people have a hand. All you have to do is look up black engineers or black people in chemistry and engineering, and you'll see how many melanated people had their hand in the creation of the internet, right? In the creation of the different aspects of the internet. In fact, even the search engine on Instagram, right? Nipsey Hussle's, I believe his tech CFO, right, is, rest in peace to Nipsey, was the brother who he was a black man who created the search engine, right? The algorithm for Instagram. So there's a lot of us behind the scenes behind the creation of a lot of these technological advancements. A melanated woman created GPS, right? Melanated man created the first video game cartridge, right? And so forth and so on. You keep going down the rabbit hole, you'll find more and more people that are of a darker hue. Now, this does not negate, people of other cultures or anything like that, because again, we are all one. But love is also an aspect. When you love yourself, you know how to be loved. And you know how to protect yourself if someone isn't loving you correctly. You know how to defend yourself, right? Like, a lot of people think love is soft, but let's take a dog, for instance, right, that loves you, and you've been treating that dog well. Let's say all of a sudden you start beating the shit out that dog, right? That dog that loves you, that was loyal, that was running up to you every time you came in the house, that was licking your face, will eventually strike your ass, will eventually try to bite you, will eventually try to scratch and claw you. That dog that was loving will attack you, right? Because that dog loves itself more and has more empathy for itself more than it has for you. So God sent you to be a vessel of God, to be one with the spirit of the divine, of source, of the universe, the unite, one verse, one song. We are in nothing but a big light and sound show here on the planet. That's it. This is a light and sound show, right? And if you know how to use your light, which is the observer effect in quantum physics, that whatever you focus on turns from wave to particle, right? Meaning that whatever you focus your attention on expands and becomes reality. And sound, if you're able to know how sound, right, affects your body, cymatics, there's even science that's coming out that the Phoenicians, aka Egyptians, were able to create these pyramids and these other temples with sound, right? Utilizing sound to move these big blocks and things like that. So, what Damon Marley said of this on his album, Nas, he said, some of the smartest dummies can't read the language of Egyptian mummies, and this is a fact, This is a fact. So we have to not humble ourselves, right? But we have to understand that there is a microcosm, man, a reflection of spirit here on the planet, and a vessel of the divine, potentially. Now, you're not God just because you're here on the earth. You read a couple of books and the books told you you're God and all of a sudden you're God. No, that's a responsibility. That's a responsibility. It's a lifestyle. It's a way that you have to be. It's a way that you have to act that goes against your carnal, animalistic, savage mind. You came to this planet crawling like an animal. Remember that, right? It took you some time to learn how to walk. It took you some time to learn how to run. But you came here as an animal, crawling on all fours with a blank slate, a blank mind, nothing on it. But your ancestors' DNA that's inside you, that vibrated, right? And there is a purpose here for you to contribute as a God here on the planet, as an aspect of the creation, the same way a chicken has a purpose, the same way a cow has a purpose, the same way a frog has a purpose, the same way a mosquito has a purpose, even a roach has a purpose. There's a purpose here for you on the planet. But you have to take your time to go within, to tap into source, to tap into that creative power within you, to tap into that ocean that exists within you, Mr. and Miss 75% of water. That same 75% is on the planet Earth. It is up to you to tap into that, right? And books could guide you, but experiences will tell you. You know, I wrote on Facebook and people kind of it was controversial, but I said, you know, books don't change you spiritually. And they don't. If books change you spiritually, my nigga, everybody who read the Bible and the Quran and the Torah would be the best people on the planet. And we all know that's not the case. We all know that's not the case. So books cannot change you spiritually at all. What changes you spiritually is your experiences with people, your experiences with circumstances, and your experiences with things, right? How you treat your neighbor, how you treat your children, how you treat the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis. Are you scheming, manipulative, jealous, a hater, right? Angry all the time, got an attitude all the time, right? Fuck all your book knowledge on who your God and you've seen all these grifters saying the same shit, right? But I'm gonna tell y'all something. Just off observation. This is not me hating. This is just off observation, right? I remember when Nature Boy started saying he was God, right? Nature Boy, spiritual teacher, so to speak, right? Started saying he was God, right? And nobody could touch him. Shortly after that, he got locked up and is currently in prison. These people also say the black woman is God. I'm not doing that, right? But they all say the black woman is God. But remember, there's two halves to a whole. There's two halves to every whole, right? There's no sunshine without rain, you know, and there's no water without fire. There's two halves to it. There's no day without night. There's two halves to every whole. So Nature Boy, I'm God, goes to jail, right? Rashid Jamon, I'm God, black woman is God, right? Nobody can touch me, goes to jail. Brother Polite, I'm God, the black woman is God, goes to prison, right? Young Pharaoh, I'm God, the black woman is God, goes crazy, right? And you see the same cycle over and over and over and over and over and over in a lot of your teachers, right? That something seems to happen, right? That takes them out either early or takes them out of commission. Because you have to acknowledge not just the divinity within yourself, but the divinity within all. That's what the word namaste means. I see the God in you, right? That's what the principles, the Commission principles of Ma'at is all about. The heart being light as a feather. This is why some of your things aren't manifesting. This is why some of the things you want to put into existence will never come into existence before you. Because you're still stuck in your human comfort zone and you're so arrogant to think that you are the Most High and that you're not deriving this wisdom, this intelligence, this body from source. Like, how dare you? Some of you eat 4 meals a day. Where's the food coming from? Not a farm, my nigga. You ain't farming. And if you are farming, you would respect the soil. The soul of the earth. So where's your soul come from? A soul is a blueprint of God that is within you, right? But there is a higher power. The Most High. Is it within you? Yes. But you also have to acknowledge it outside of you, and that is what will make you God here on earth. That's what will make you a divine vessel here on earth. That's what will make you loving enough to clean up your neighborhood, loving enough to be better fathers, loving enough to be better mothers, loving enough to be the vanguard of your family. If you are a black sheep and you're a person listening to this message, then you have a mission, right? You have a purpose here on earth. And that purpose will lead to riches. That purpose will lead to greatness. That purpose will lead to power. That purpose will lead to prestige and promise, right? Doesn't mean you won't go through ups and downs. That's what life is about. It's a training ground for your spirit. Life is a training ground for your spirit to see, are you going to be a vessel of God in a situation? We seen during the pandemic motherfuckers disappear. There's a lot of spiritual teachers back on here, right, who disappeared during the pandemic. Some went back to church. They ain't gonna tell you that, but they did. Because it wasn't in them. It was just books that they read. It was just logical, verbal knowledge that they could regurgitate really well and very articulate at that. God sent you here, right? God sent you. You, me, right? and everything else. But God sent you in this human vessel with the ability to subdue the earth and master things in it. And with that comes self-mastery. With that comes an understanding. With that comes ma'at, balance, true balance, right? Study your 7 universal laws, memorize them, right? Study nature, right? There's herbal solutions for every sickness out here that we've lost through the transatlantic slave trade. And some people say, oh, there's no slave trade ever, these idiots online, right? Where are the ships? Well, nigga, you think they're going to keep a ship? Like, in the 18, 16, 1700s, they keeping these ships and not using them or burning them down, or they haven't been destroyed over time? Like, do you understand how oxidation works? So I want to encourage you to know that God sent you. Yes, you are a divine being. Yes, you are a vessel of the divine. But the greatest gift of the Creator, of Source, of the universe, of God, is the fact that it rains on the righteous and the unrighteous. The sun shines on the righteous and the unrighteous. And it does not mean that you're a pussy because you believe in God. It does not mean you're soft. It does not believe you will not defend yourself. Back an animal in the corner, right? And see if that of the most kindest animal, a gazelle, won't buck back at you. A cat won't try to claw your motherfucking eyes out if you try to fuck with that cat. That doesn't mean that if you treat that cat right, that cat ain't gonna be purring in your arms, right? And vibrating at your very touch. But it does mean that cat loves itself enough. That's love. That ain't hate. That cat loves itself. So it's gonna try to scratch your motherfucking eyes out. So study nature, not man. Right? When you're looking at relationships, study nature, not man. Right? Because nature has been successful when it comes to relationships. They don't got no issues. You know what I'm saying? The lions, the gorillas, the tigers, the bears, oh my. They don't have any issues with their relationships. There's no gender war in nature. There's no gender war with the bees and the birds. Study nature. And most importantly, study the nature within yourself. And tap into your inner Christ consciousness. And only the way you can do that is through, I'm say it as I always say, breath work, movement, right? Books ain't gonna do it. You gotta tap with that. With that being said, peace, power, prosperity, Rob Blackstone. I love y'all. Take care. Have a great day. Like, share, subscribe.